All right, let's go and talk about some serious stuff. And that is the banning of Asmongold from Twitch. This came down yesterday. And I'll tell you this, man. We're going to play the entire 4 minutes and 27 seconds of what people think got him banned. And we're going to make a little judgment about this. If it's too harsh, if this is warranted, or if not. And some are saying this is just common sense. Some are saying this is too much, too quick. You guys be the judge.
Is shoot him, problem solved? That's what I would do. That's what I think they should. I think they should just fucking shoot him. Like, I've said this before. Like, I know that it might sound like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that. I have no sympathy for doing that, and I would do that in a second because it's the right thing to do in the long term. You can never look at, in a very, very isolated incident, you could say, and there's always, this is emotional blackmail, right? Well, you can't shoot these people. They have kids with them. Well, then don't bring your kids. If you don't want to get shot, then don't bring your fucking kids. It's really simple.
For reference, he's talking about at the borders.
You mean you'd shoot adults and deport the kids, right? Well, I'd shoot whoever. Yeah, I'd shoot whoever. I mean, if it's kids, women, men, anybody, just shoot them. They're going to stop coming over. Because if you don't do that, they'll use children and women as shields to get themselves over. And then they'll put more women and children at risk because they know that they can use them as collateral so they can get more of themselves over. That's the way it works. That's the way an animal thinks, and these people are animals. They're savages. Absolute fucking savages. Hamas tactics, yeah, terrorists. Of course you don't want to do that. Doesn't mean you want to do it. But you have to do what you need to do in order to enforce your borders, man. Like, that's the way it is. People are too emotional to see that. Yeah, I mean, like, again, like, it's, you can't make decisions that way. And I understand the way that I talk about this might be a little bit extreme. It might be a little bit, unemotional. I wish we had more people like me. I do. I wish we had more, because we got too many pussies that are too worried about the optics of something rather than the reality of it. The reality of it is that if you allow people to use kids as a shield to come over, they're going to use kids as a shield to come over. And that's going to cause a net increase of child exploitation, a net increase of child suffering. And it's better to just say nobody can come over and shoot anybody than try to create winning solutions for these people so they can take advantage of them by further exploiting those groups of people that you think you don't want to shoot. That's just how it is. You say you shoot kids? Yeah. No, that's. I mean, obviously that's what I said, right? I mean, like that's clearly like. I mean, that's like, I don't know why. Like, why would you repeat it to me as if I didn't say it?
Because
that's literally exactly what I said. That's the reasoning for it. That's my logic. That's exactly what I would do, and I wouldn't even have any question for it. Come on, well, I'm gonna pull one more up. Keep the kids, deport their families. What do you think the kids do? The kids grow up and they resent you for supporting their families to turn to terrorists. No. You present a very specific scenario, just shooting into a crowd, and now there happen to be kids too? Of course, because that's the reality. Because if you have kids in the crowd, then kids are going to get killed in the crowd. Then you're going to use the emotional weight of the kids getting killed in the crowd as a justification to not shoot the crowds. But you think that shooting the crowds is the correct option, which means that you would be okay taking the risk of killing the kids, which means that killing the kids is somehow acceptable, which means that doing that is not a big deal, and you'd be okay with it as well. You're ignoring how the sausage is made because you don't want to feel bad about the outcome. But
all right, I think that's a good place to wrap there.
Just context. Can I get context from you first?
Sure.
Is he talking about like if it was a wave of people, or is he just saying literally anyone that's crossing the border?
He's saying undocumented children or people crossing the border illegally. With
to any
their
capacity.
Parents.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think it's in regards to like, I don't know how to pronounce this, but Ceuta, the country that's part of Spain, I think it's in regards to that, having looked at like the background
it is.
Where you see, the Nick Shirley.
Yeah, so it's a wave of people. This isn't like a family crossing and you could, easily just arrest them.
Right.
This would be a zombie horde.
Can't. No, think about it though. In this case, right? In talking about however you pronounce that country, right? You had tens of thousands of people showing up, and you have a small country who was not even prepared for it. They were terrorized for what, like 3 days, a week, however long, and there's no way you're going to stop an entire flood of people like that, especially if they have children.
Speaking of, here is the Soweto port right here. This is what he is speaking of right here. Literal invasion.
Oh my God.
It truly
Yeah.
does look like a zombie horde.
Good
coming
luck
in.
arresting all of them.
Right.
Well, that's what I was saying for context was, again, like if it is just a family of 3 crossing, I would hope that you went to just arrest them first before mowing them down. A zombie horde is a very different thing.
Yeah, because at that point it becomes an attack. Like
Correct.
it's an attack. It's an invasion and an attack. And therefore you have to do the means necessary in order to protect the people that live in your country, let alone the people that live there in the city that's on the border.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're bringing your kids, I'm sorry, that's a you problem. If you put your kids in that situation where it looks like that,
We had that though, and I'm not trying to get like, I'm not trying to be awful when saying this,
and me
but
neither.
like,
Yeah.
I live in Texas, okay, and then I grew up there. I have a lot of family there, and my grandfather lived in an area that was predominantly white, and it was in more southerny Texas, and when during Biden's admin, they had the flood of immigrants that were just coming through our border. Well, that town that used to be really, really safe is now no longer safe. And
Right.
this is what is a product of that. And you still have people justifying that particular action. We are just as bad about taking in immigrants as the military, or not the military, but the government for that country, Sueta, or however you pronounce it. But like, we're going through it too. We already been through it. They're just now getting hit, and we're seeing the ramifications of that because they're so small in scope.
I think what he said sounds very extreme. When you hear it, you go, you're talking about opening fire on a crowd, right? But with the context of it more or less looking like an invasion, the clip that we just saw, like that's literally like if somebody walks up to your house and it's a family of 3 and they're like, hey, do you have some bread, right? Do you have some bread? Do you have some water? Hey, can you help us out? The likelihood of you opening fire on those people are very small. You give them a warning, okay, it escalates a little higher. Hey, I need you to leave, whatever. But if a mob of 50 military-aged men come to your house and they're not communicating, they're just yelling and storming your property, you have every right to defend that property. I think what he said sounds extreme, but in reality, it makes sense. It's if you're looking at it from the outside, you go, man, that sounds like you're going to shoot kids, right? But what's interesting is there's people like down below right here in the comments. Like this person says, I was deployed. These people definitely use their kids as shields. It's no surprise that those crossing the border would do the same. They know the risks and they bring them anyways because in the back of their minds, they know America is soft. Let's hear what he has to say the one last minute here.
But the reality is that any way that you logically deduce this reality, you will immediately come out with bad behavior. You understand? You just create a human shield defense? Of course. All I'm saying is don't pull the kids aside and shoot them if you had a choice. Well, I don't think they should pull them aside. No one wants to feel bad about the outcome. Well, of course, I mean, like, yeah, actually, I don't care about feeling bad about the outcome at all. I care about feeling bad about that I did the wrong thing. This is the kind of guy that falls hook, line, and sinker for the Hamas propaganda because he can't see past kids. It's so sad, man. It's honestly so sad the amount of people that are emotionally captured by this.
Phoenix, you are God King Emperor.
Yeah.
And Asmongold is your director of border security. How do you feel about this strategy?
So, it's interesting because is he on YouTube or is he only a Twitch guy?
Primarily on Twitch. I think he may be on YouTube as well. I think
He's
he's
on Rumble,
primarily.
too.
Yeah.
The reason why I actually asked that is that YouTube does have terms of service and there's things you can say and not say. And if he is on YouTube, then that means he's most likely watching certain things that he says so as to not get off the platform. Here's my point with that. It's very easy to say what he's saying, but there are huge ramifications for those actions. When you start showing images of deceased, I'll call them small ones. I don't know what our rules and policies are here. Of small ones. Yeah, of younglings. Okay. And you're being plastered because your opponent's side is going to be plastering this. Public is not going to like that at all. And you can try and explain that away as much as you can. A good portion of people are not going to follow. So my point is that if he's on a YouTube, chances are he's following the rules, and that's a guy that would never do what he's doing here. He would have never been on a YouTube platform. All right. That said,
Right.
I am for... That's why I was asking specifically. If this was just a couple of people, no, I personally, I don't want anyone hurt. I would prefer to arrest them and stuff like that. If I see an invasion, I think it is fair to say that we should be treating our country the same way that we treat our president. There is a gate at the White House, and if they see one person over, most of the time they try to tackle that person. If 50 people start storming the White House, they're not going to wait and ask questions. So, well, damn it, that's my country, and we should be treating it with the same respect. If there's 50 people trying to run in here, you treat that as a threat. You give a little megaphone like, hey, warning, time to turn back. And then you start launching grenades and shit if they don't. Because I completely agree with what he's saying. I don't want that to happen. But you have to defend your border. And the minute that you show weakness is the minute then that you've lost all control. Because then anyone is just going to go, oh, they're weak. We can come in this way. You need to, unfortunately, send a very loud and clear message that you will only be met with force. Time to turn around and come in legally. You know what I mean?
No, I do. I very much do. And we talked about this briefly yesterday with Kirsha, talking about the idea that you need to show strength immediately, cut it off at, it's like a weed growing, right? You get the root. And in an instance like this country where they're literally seeing, I would call that an invasion. That's not migrants. That is an invasion.
It's an invasion.
Literally running up your coastline, coming and trying to invade and become immigrants or whatever, and they're not looking to assimilate by any means. Like I said, I think the thing is, it sounds harsh, but the reality is that life is harsh, and these people made those decisions. Nobody likes the idea of young ones being offed. Nobody likes that idea at all. But are you mad at the people that had to do it, or are you mad at the people that brought them into that danger zone?
Yeah, they're the ones putting you in the harsh situation. The only thing I found insulting about Asmongold was his hair. Everything else is, I'm like, he's got a point.
Well, I mean, like this kind of also, in a way, if you think about it, ties back to like propaganda in the Vietnam War, right? Because if you think about it, there were cases, I'm pretty sure, where they had younglings strapped with grenades, and they would say, "Go hug the soldiers." And because the soldiers don't, one, expect the child to be used that way, and then two, it's a child. You can't. Your brain is going to be like, I can't do that. And soldiers for years after that war were called youngling killers. And it's just, this is why I said, like, I know I said it kind of softly, but like, this is why I said the guy repeating it was just trying to clip him out of context.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, how do we know that those kids actually belong to those people and they weren't kidnapped for this very reason?
That's a good point.
Actually, you know what? This reminds me of an anime. Okay, it's literally one of my favorite series. It's very dark, but it's very good. It's called Overlord. And the main character, his name is Ainz, is put in a situation where he has to get he's looking for somebody, and this castle is overrun by a bunch of barbaric creatures that are basically putting the younglings on the wall as hostages. And he is put in a situation where the only kindness he can show is by putting the younglings out of a very quick misery, and it's a really tough situation, but he's looking at it in the case of, I have to do this. I cannot physically save that child, because if I show weakness, then they think it is okay to use the rest of the town as hostages in this kind of scenario, and I will make it worse. It's a tough decision, but I have to do it.
I think what you're describing is, the old what Trump says: peace through strength, right? And sometimes when you're strong, you have to make very hard decisions. And I think in that instance right there, where you have people literally busting through, that is an invasion. That is an invasion on your land. That's an invasion on your country. And if they're bringing children, once again, they know what they're getting into. And I'll tell you this, what's going to stop really, really quick, really, really quick? All that. If people are, off like they're talking about here, all of a sudden, like, what do you think has happened at our border here? Right? There's a reason why 0 people have come over. I think it's been actually a negative over the last couple of years. More people have left the United States than have come in. And that's amazing. That's amazing to hear. I love to hear that. But it's because there's been strength at the border. They said, no, we're not doing this anymore. And all of a sudden, the logic is, well, they don't feel welcome. Good. Go through the proper ways to be welcome into our country. We're not saying that immigrants aren't welcome. Legal immigrants are welcome if you go through the proper way to become and assimilate to our country. It's very simple. But it seems very harsh after what we saw the previous 4 years, where it's like, come on in, everybody, welcome. Here's a card. Here's to take you to the city. It seems harsh, but guess what? Sometimes after things have been so loosey-goosey, you get a drill instructor in, and all of a sudden they seem extra harsh. But in reality, it's what's best for things to get back to normal. That's just the reality of the situation. So, but people have obviously pointed out the hypocrisy of Asmongold getting banned. Nani over here says, Asmon, you can't say you should shoot violent migrants that want to kill you. You're only allowed to encourage political assassinations, be racist against white people, say that America deserved 9/11, support terrorism, and say that people should kill landlords while abusing your dog. For fuck's sakes, Asmon, we've been over this. Stop saying these terrible things. Obviously, that's a direct shot at Hassan Piker here. Good old Philip came in and says, calling someone fat, banned. Tech tone right there. Telling the truth, banned. Inciting violence against capitalists, no ban. Promoting literal terrorists, no ban. Twitch is a freaking joke.
Yeah.
And by the way, Hassan chimed in here, celebrating his ban with this. That's rich. Very rich
What a
right here.
fucking idiot.
He's so stupid.
Yep. Speaking of Hassan, this comes from Tectone. Old clip has resurfaced. Let's see what he had to say.
We're going to keep bringing in immigrants into this country on purpose, just so they can fuck your sister. And then maybe even your daughter. We're going to destroy the white race, bitch. That's what we're here to do. We're going to keep...
Sarcasm or not, the words came out of his mouth. And if you're going to ban Asmongold for that, you should be banning Hassan for that.
100%. 100%.
I have strong opinions that I am afraid will get you in trouble, so I won't say them.
We are skating on thin ice on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
I hate to be that guy that I cannot believe I'm going to say, but we don't understand the context of that either.
I know.
I don't know what the
context
context is.
What other additional context is needed?
So I bet, again, believe me, I don't like him. But it could be, for instance, he could
reading
be
something.
You could be doing a sarcasm thing. Yeah, you know what we want to do is XYZ. That's what we are. We just want to XYZ. You know, it could be that, and it's cut beforehand. Anytime I see clips that are trimmed right to the point when someone's saying something, I get very suspicious because I go, oh, they couldn't even give that breathing room. That was, there's something before it. So I'm not defending him. Just I don't know the full context.
I guess it's more believable to think that he did say something like that and because of all the other things that he has said that's very, very similar to that. But there is just such a double standard for who can say what and what that person can say. And I'm honestly shocked that platform has not fallen apart yet because of this. But again, they like to make us feel like we're the minority and they're the majority and that they influence more than we do. And then, I mean, the influence may be stronger because Hassan has probably a lot of younger kids watching him. Oh, yeah. And he knows that he does. And he's influencing an entirely new generation being brought up to be socialists. And that's
he's very political now.
Disgusting.
Like he's very political and he's climbing the ranks. So like, there's no way he's ever getting banned off Twitch because Twitch clearly leans one direction. So
yeah, and he's bringing in money because of all these people that watch him and donate things. But again, like even outside of the political realm, the fact that he shocked and abused his dog live on stream should have been enough. That should have been enough.
Of course, but it won't be. And why is that? Well, let me tell you why. This is from Nainus. Says Hassan is one of the nastiest people, yet has protection from Dan Clancy, the CEO of Twitch. There he is right there. Despite all the hateful and distasteful things he said, the double standard is blatant and favoritism on Twitch is unreal. I can't imagine why Amazon continues to allow Twitch to be run so poorly. This is literally
they agree.
Hassan Piker. Yeah. Dan Clancy.
Do you think he has something over him? Like, do you think he arranges like
money,
sexual encounters?
No, him? I think he just brings an enormous amount of money.
I don't know.
And some of these people, that's all they in my opinion, that's all they care about. It's two things, money and ideology. And I think on both fronts, they're being rewarded.
Yes.
Here's the thing about that, right? Like, and this is going to sound really harsh. Whether it's YouTube, whether it's Rumble, whether it's Kick, whether it's Twitch, this is the idea of it being money is there's validity to it. But if they are removed from the platform, Twitch, YouTube, whatever platform, they have the opportunity to literally create the next star on their platform simply from featuring them. So while he may generate X number of dollars on a day-to-day basis, ultimately, if you were to ban him, that audience is still going to be on Twitch going to someone else's stream. Sure. Right? So
that's why I'm adding ideology to it. Because I
definitely agree. I think it's way more ideology than it is money.
But I think there's also some homo arrangement.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I really do. I really think that there's some sort of homoerotic situation going on there. Well, I mean, why else would they be up each other's assholes? Literally. Yeah.
Well, he has certainly grown over the years.
In his butt, sure has.
Yeah. A big growth.
Here is Hassan Piker's growth, and you can see that he really took off during COVID when people were home. You can see the direct spike. What happened there? He saw gradual growth, and then bam, up during COVID, and he's been hanging around ever since. And averaging 30. This is why 22,000 paid subs, 22,000 paid subs, almost 17,000 gifted subs. Like, that's a ton of money on a month-to-month basis. That is nuts.
Do we know, is there any other, I guess Asmongold is on Twitch too, right? What are his numbers?
I'm glad you asked. I'll pull that up here. Pull that up in just a second. Yes. While I do that, for the comparison, Leaflet chimed in. when it comes to Asmongold's statement. Blabs, I would love for you to read her post if possible.
Okie dokie. So Leaflet says, honestly, I agree with Asmongold. One thing that people don't understand is that one side is willing to use women and children to commit crimes, and you let them use this to lessen your response, then you make it strategically valid. In the immediate, it's bad and it feels awful, but by allowing the effectiveness of the tactic to stand, you create much more dire consequences for a greater sum of people, both for the children and women who will be used in the future and for the crime that will come to citizens. You also have to consider the economic and cultural damage that will occur. Basically, you allow your morality, which they don't even care about, by the way, to drive you to a result that creates exponentially higher levels of suffering and death. This is the difference between knights and kings, the ability to make this decision while understanding fully the consequence at whole and not just a single moment, and it features a Cowboy Bebop gif.
This is why I love her. She's so on the ball with this. And like she's absolutely correct. I absolutely adore Leaf.
By the way, you were asking about well, here's Hassan's viewership right there, and here is Asmongold's viewership. It's roughly the same. The difference here is the active subs. You can see the current active subs. This can't be right. Are you kidding me? 58. Hassan has 51,000 active subs versus Asmongold's 3,000.
Wow.
Yeah, but you also have to ask, like, how much of it is like
Gifted
for
away
on his side.
Yeah.
Yeah. From Amazon gifting it out.
Does he ever
Yeah.
gift himself too? Like, can you do that on Twitch? He probably
You
gifts. He probably gifts a lot himself. He got the money to do it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this is obviously. I just always go back to what can be done about this. How everybody sees the double standard. Everybody sees it, whether you're left, right, or in between. It's so obvious that a blind man can see it, but nobody can do anything about it because the CEO backs this. And I just go back to like, look, we're live on Twitch right now. It's mainly just the idea of casting that. Would we encourage everybody on Twitch to go watch over on Kick or on Rumble or on YouTube? Absolutely. We would love that. But like, what can possibly be done about this? It's just like the only thing that can really be done is a regime change at Twitch, I would guess, right? Like a CEO moves, and then there's a level bar for everybody when it comes to this. What could possibly be done outside of Dan Clancy moving on? Any suggestions?
Some people in the chat are pointing out that Asmon is not an e-beggar like Hassan, which is a good point. And it may be, I don't watch enough Hassan, so chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It may be a situation where Asmon actually discourages subs and kind of like a Linus Tech Tip situation. Like he does not want people to send him money or gift subs while he goes live on his YouTube channel. He wants you to go to his merch site and purchase merchandise versus giving him money through chat. So it could be one of those types of situations where Asmon is like, I don't want it. Keep your money. You know, buy your family food or whatever it is. I don't know. But chat's right. Hassan is an e-beggar.
Yeah.
Just don't stream on Twitch is my solution. Then you can't get banned on it. Don't be there.
He's like the Twitch DSP.
It's an insult to DSP, I think, at that point.
I was going to say, just way more vile. Just way more vile. Yeah, way more vile. I think, DSP is harmless. He's just a oaf who's just trying to make his way, and doing the same thing he was doing in 2008, whereas Hassan is trying to radicalize a generation. And he's doing his best to change elections, change culture.
He's doing a good job, too.
And yeah, exactly. That's the reality of it, is that he's doing a good job. Yeah, which... oof, man, that's rough. But we do encourage everybody watching over on Twitch to find us over on Kick. We got several hundred people watching us over on Kick today. We don't even like promote our Kick very often, and that's been growing spectacularly. So thank you guys for finding us over on Kick.
There's 270 people on Kick right now.
Ooh, that's
Nice.
spectacular.
269, because one of them is me. So hello.
Well, that's honestly spectacular. We don't do a good enough job promoting Kick, and we love that we have folks tuning in over on Kick. So thank you guys, and we would love if you guys on Twitch would make the jump over to Kick. It's just like Twitch or Rumble, obviously, or YouTube. So Either way, we're glad you guys are with us. But hopefully there is it's the irony of this whole topic being, an invasion. There needs to be an invasion on Twitch for this regime change to happen. And you just wonder if Jeff Bezos knows that this is what's happening. You talk about the ultimate capitalist over here, Jeff Bezos, being told by one of the top streamers on Twitch that he wants to bathe in their capitalist blood.